Okay, looks like you are now live.
Okie dokie. So we'll begin the planning committee meeting of Akron City Council. I'd like to entertain a motion that we accept the minutes of the previously held meeting.
Motion to accept the minutes of the previously held meeting.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. In terms of the list of legislation, the regular list of legislation, I'm going to recommend time short of any concerns or comments. We'll move into the new list of legislation, of which this is located as item number 4 on our list. And this is a ordinance approving the sale of city-owned land at 132, 133. That's interesting. North Howard Street, Limited Liability Corporation. Is there someone here wishing to speak on this?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Becker.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. This piece of property here is adjacent to Gear Star, which is right on Howard Street, almost directly across from the condo towers. And this piece of property actually is on the west side of his property. It abuts the towpath, and part of it abuts his property. And really, the city has not been able to use this property for many years since the towpath was installed because of there's a fence abutting the towpath, so really you have no access to it. He would like to expand his business and hire more employees. So since this property is not being used, it gives him an opportunity to expand the building that he has adjacent to it.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from anyone? Is this is the sale price commensurate with what we typically receive?
Well, it's a little lower due to the fact that up on the hill next to his property, we had a fire hydrant problem, which actually collapsed the slope onto his property, which he has graciously agreed to use his own money to fix. So we decided to discount the property a little bit because our hydrant caused damage actually to his property.
Gotcha. Okay, what is the sale price then?
It's $500.
Okay. And how large is the parcel?
The parcel is approximately, I'm sorry, about a third acre.
I gotcha. So it's the one that's, I'm looking at the map here. It's the one that's behind the building there. Is that it? Is that the one? Or is it the shaded one?
Yeah, if you're looking, it's not the shaded one is going to come into council probably next week. That's actually going to be a vacation of a street, but the other parcel is outlined in red, and you can see it runs along the towpath there, and it does abut part of his property to the north and to the south.
Gotcha. Okay, now, yeah, okay, now it's clear. Gotcha. Yeah, it really doesn't seem as though it's usable other than for him.
Right.
Property, yeah, it doesn't, yeah, maybe a limited amount with the frontage on Howard, but I don't know if the topo probably is challenging there, I'm sure. So yeah, understand. Okay, very good. This adds up. Any questions from anyone else on this? Mr. Malik?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Becker, just to the earlier question that Mr. Fusco asked, what is the market price? So how much is it being discounted?
Well, generally, we would sell this type of property for about $25,000 an acre, similar to what we sell our industrial park property for. But he's actually putting $30,000 into this fix because of our hydrant and the damage that was caused because he had a slope failure
Yep.
So he actually has to do quite a bit of dirt work on his property. So we decided to definitely discount it based on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malik. Any further questions or comments on this thing? From anyone? Is a consent agenda okay?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Cool, cool. Is there a recommendation for consent?
Recommendation for consent.
Thank you. A second out there. I heard a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, thank you. Good. The next item, this one here is number 5, authorizing the deputy mayor for integrated development to provide business enhancement grants to multiple new or existing businesses located in the city of Akron, authorizing director of finance to issue grant funds under the business enhancement grant program. Is there someone here wishing to speak on this one?
Yes,
Oh, Mr. Becker.
Chairman, members of the committee. I also have Ms. Roschek here to speak on this piece of legislation. But in the 2021 budget, there was a line item under OID, which was for business enhancement grants throughout the city. And basically what this does is if a business, say, is expanding or they want to move to a larger facility because they have new equipment, they're hiring, the city is able then to be able to give them a little bit of incentive and a little bit of help if they need it to get over the hump, to get to that new location or to do their expansion. And it's a great tool because right now in the climate that we're in for medium-sized businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, they really do need this little bit of extra help. But what this legislation does is that instead of us bringing every single piece back to council, it would give the deputy mayor of OID authorization to authorize these grants, whatever they are, 20, 30, 40, up to $50,000. So we wouldn't have to take everything back. And then at the end of the year, what we're going to do is we're keeping track of these on a spreadsheet, and council will get a copy of that as to how these grants were used and what they were used for. And also when we give these grants out, it's not that we're just going to write a check to the company. We're actually, they usually need help with moving or maybe internet connection or high-speed internet or something. We're going to ask for receipts before we issue these checks. So at least we have some documentation that, hey, they did use the money, in their expansion or in their move. So really what this is it's going to streamline the concept that we're going to be able to get the money to the business faster.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Mr. Beckert, for that report. And for, just in my experience, it just seems as though that the administration has that ability. I understand that there's a cap on this of 50,000. Is that correct? And council we did approve that. I believe it's $500,000 across the city in the capital budget. I think it is. I can't remember if it's capital or operating, but
It was operating. It was $500,000. That's correct.
Okay, so $500,000, and there's a cap of 50,000 and anything over and above that would have to come in. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know if there's any questions from any committee members or anything, but I would almost like to see, because just in case it would be over that we maybe amend this to add that language so that it's clear to everyone. At first glance, I didn't know why we have this legislation because I believe you guys already pretty much have the authority to do it. Because we have provided grants to the community, but this is, I think I understand it.
Based on what the law department has instructed us, they said that we would have had to take every single piece back. And this way, if it is over 50, we will definitely bring it back.
Right, yeah. Is there any questions or comments from anyone on this? Mr. Malik?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Mr. Becker. I guess either for Mr. Becker or Ms. Raschak. I know that these are, an important way of supporting businesses that are growing within the city. I do kind of note, it is helpful, I think, from council's perspective, to be able to see these on an ongoing basis and, weigh in on specific instances. I guess, are there any sort of policies or things set out as to, what kind of benchmarks, we're going to try to hit with these grants, what factors will qualify a business for a grant? So I think maybe if some of that information can be provided, it would be helpful if we're kind of signing off on basically kind of offloading this from council. It would be helpful to know how these grants will operate going forward.
Yeah, we can put a list together. I mean, basically, if the business is like new machines, is it hiring people? Are they expanding? Maybe it's a new business coming in with new jobs. We can even help them a little bit, but all those factors put together are things that we're looking at before we would even entertain something like this.
Okay. Well, I guess if there's some kind of, rubric or something like that could be provided, I think that would be really helpful. And, I guess I would just suggest to the committee, it might be helpful to just take a week's time or something like that, if that's something the committee would like to do.
Thank you, Mr. Malik. And like I said, it may make sense just to add that 50,000, even though the charter recites that, just for clarity purposes. I assume time is okay for this one, Mr. Becker? Go ahead and referring this item
That's fine.
for further study. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we will get it rewritten and also get the list of items.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Mr. Becker. I'd like to entertain a motion that we refer this item number, whichever it was, 5. Motion to refer.
Motion to refer.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you all. The ayes have it. Item number 6 is a resolution appointing Councilman Shamus Malik to the Akron Bath Copley Joint Township Hospital District Board. Very good. Now this is interesting. An appointment. But Mr. Malik, are you sure you want to do this?
From my understanding, this is a board that Councilman Swirsky served on, and they have an annual meeting of the Akron Bath Copley Hospital Board. I believe the meeting's tomorrow at 5:30. So, I'm happy to participate.
Yes, and time, yeah, and many of us on council have or are currently serving on this board, and it's a commission. It's a very good board, and it's very valuable, and it's a good asset for us. Any questions or comments reference this? I think we do understand the time is of the essence on this particular item. So I'm going to entertain a motion that we suspend the rules with a favorable report.
Motion to suspend the rules with a favorable report.
Thank you, Ms. Samples. Second, please.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye for a favorable report.
Aye.
With the rules.
Aye.
Against, thank you. Very good. I would like us to go back into the agenda Mr. Malik, did you have something else? No, you're good. Yeah, I'd like for us to go back into the agenda to the regular list of legislation so that we may look at ordinance number 4 under the list of legislation. This is the ordinance authorizing conditional use to construct a horticultural and volunteer center at 714 North Portage Path and declaring an emergency. This was a substitute was read in last Monday. I know Mr. Malik has put in a considerable amount of time. I would like to welcome Mr. Sean Joyce from the representing the petitioner on this particular item, this being Stan Hewitt. and appreciate everyone's efforts on this. The community, you know, a lot of meeting, a lot of discussion, a lot of back and forth, and appreciate everyone's patience and work on this. I believe at the end of the day, this conditional use will be in the best interest of all. Mr. Joyce, did you have anything you'd like to mention at this point?
Well, thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate the time you and Councilman Malik and have spent on this, and really appreciate all the other time of all the other individuals involved, especially on this call, and the time of council to help us, you know, get through this process. And I'm really confident at the end of the day, once this project's done, it's going to be a benefit to not only Stan Hewitt and its volunteers and its current operations, but the rest of the community. So I'm just really thankful, and look forward to I guess moving forward. And everyone's pretty excited about it, I could tell you, at least internally. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Joyce, for your comments. Thank you. Mr. Malik, did you have anything you'd want to mention at this point?
Sure, just, you know, want to thank Stan Hewitt for the dialogue over, I think it's been close to 8 months at this point. I want to thank you for your time, Mr. Chair. And, you know, I think that a lot of the provisions that we put in there, specifically about making sure, you know, construction vehicles and service vehicles come in off of Portage Path, and those kinds of things, I think will help mitigate a lot of the concerns about traffic safety. So look forward to continuing to work with Stan Hewitt and the residents through these issues.
Thank you, Mr. Malik. Thank you for all your hard work on that. Any other further comments or questions? Short of that, I'd like to entertain a motion that we suspend the rules with a favorable report on this. Can I have a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules with a favorable report.
Thank you, Ms. Samples, or second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kamer. All those in favor of suspension of the rules with a favorable report signify by saying aye.
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 Against? Very good. The ayes have it. Mr. Joyce will be reporting that out this evening at 7 o'clock to all of council, and we'll be asking them to pass it this evening. Thank you again for all your efforts on this, and good luck.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you later.
Thank you, Mr. Joyce. Thank you. Okay, very
Have a
good.
great day, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anything else to come before the committee? Seeing none, we're adjourned. Planning is adjourned. We'll turn this back over to Sarah Viviano.
Our next committee meeting for the day will be at 2 o'clock, and that will be the Public Service Committee. Those committee members are Samples, Hamer,